Welcome back, friend. I think I've been keeping you in the dark for too long. Millions used to live in this city. Now it's just a ghost town. For those of us who survived, we knew we would never see the old world again. We thought it could have been an accident, that someone just messed up, but deep down, we all knew different. We all saw what happened. So, friend, let me tell you what soon resulted in the end of the world. So our story begins in the late 2000s. The entire US economy was getting ready to do an Olympic diving competition. Mark Zuckerberg's programming had malfunctioned and is now turning his online college plays into a website that destroys democracy. But most of all, science was getting good. Specifically, technology that can predict the sex of a child before it's born.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool, but not really useful unless you're hoping for a boy under the threat of a government. But no government would ever do something that short-sighted. Okay, so the most important part of that information is that we can now predict a baby's gender before they are born. So a bunch of people had an idea, the most notable being Jenna Carvunides. Now, she was into throwing parties before. She had a party for her goldfish and an annual one for her dogs. So it's no surprise that she wanted to do a party when she was pregnant with her oldest child. I also feel like I should say that she really wanted a child, so it's okay that she wanted to have a small party when she got pregnant. Okay, back to the story. The party was a simple one with a fun little surprise. A cake covered in gray icing that when cut into it would either be pink, to represent that her child was going to be a girl, or blue to represent that her child was going to be a boy. It was kind of a fun idea, simple, casual, no one died, millions of dollars weren't lost in damages, but I'm sure that would never happen. I don't even know why I'm mentioning it right now.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
Anyway, out of all of her different parties, this idea really took off. People liked the idea, really liked it, and unknowingly, she had accidentally created a trend. Slowly, as social media began to show people gender reveal parties, it became more and more of a popular idea. Then people began to combine the idea of a gender reveal party with a longer-lasting baby shower party, creating an even stronger idea that a gender reveal event was necessary during pregnancy. So people began to do them, usually with cake, as was tradition, but then with other things. Hey, why have cake when you can have powder? Hey, why have powder when you can have flares?
2 minutes of one-upmanship later.
Dear liberals, you claim to love your child, but you're not willing to detonate a car bomb in a downtown city to prove you do. Curious. Jen Eric Whiteman. Turning point, Al-Qaeda, gender reveal parties. So gender reveal parties are now ingrained in culture. And to elaborate on the past point, because every parent feels a sense that their child is a bit better than everyone else's, sometimes they want to make a gender reveal party that's just a bit more special than the last one they saw. Now here's the thing about stuff spreading on the internet. If you create an activity, it can quickly turn into a game of one-upmanship, or people doing something just to look better than the last person they saw do something similar. So even if it was originally a good idea or a harmless piece of fun, it can quickly turn into a dangerous game where people do increasingly extravagant or concerning things. And that brings us to
something. I don't know what it is. It's something. You know what? Double the damage and then run it again.
Yeah, you want me to double it up?
So now that you have a pretty good idea of where the trend came from and how ideas or activities generally spread on the internet, we're going to look at some of the problems that occurred during some small parties, as well as what people did at some of the larger ones to show how this trend was no different from the rest. Hopefully then you'll begin to see how we got here, and why there's no end in gender reveal parties. Okay, so there are many problems that occurred for some people during these parties. For example, some people began to reveal their baby's gender through baseball. The idea being that you hit a ball and either pink or blue powder would come out. So some people were accidentally hit by the ball, and then also some people missed and hit someone standing by. But still nothing too terrible. I'm going to pause it here. She does get hit. What happened was she filled a wiffle ball with some powder, but it didn't break when they first hit it, and by chance it came back and hit her. But from what I've read, she recovered and she seems to have a good sense of humor about it. But this one did look like it kinda hurt, so I won't show it. Okay, back to the video. There were also some people who made boxes designed to reveal the gender of a baby, some having the idea that you would pull a string and powder or confetti would come out to reveal the gender of your child. But if you didn't tie the box to the roof well enough, well, looks like the sex of your child is pain. Then there were also times where people would say the wrong gender, which caused some confusion, but still nothing too terrible. But soon, people started wanting bigger and bigger gender reveal parties, so some had an idea. Explosives, the greatest way to celebrate something. Of course, sometimes explosives malfunction, and generally you should have a professional handle them. But because many didn't, and because explosives are in general very dangerous, problems arose once again. So it first started off with some small party poppers. One backfired and hit a dad. Unfortunate, but he was okay. Again, we're still in the realm of stuff like this happens during most parties. But coming back to that idea of one-upmanship, it didn't stop there. People then used paintball guns to reveal their gender. But the general consensus on those videos were,
Stop it. Get some help.
so that's good. Then some people used a shotgun to reveal the baby's gender.
USA! USA!
Then some other people used a rifle and tannerite, which is essentially an explosive powder to reveal their baby's gender.
USA! USA!
By the way, remember this way of revealing a gender. It's going to be important later. Moving out of explosives and hopping over to Florida, at least 2 different couples revealed their gender with an alligator because, of course they did. Now going across the world, some vlogging YouTubers, the Aristotle and Socrates of our time, lit up the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, to reveal the gender of their child. So yeah, as you can see, people were doing elaborate things and problems were occurring. So that brings us to...
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at...
So this was no different from any other trend. Now I'll tell you about some of the more destructive gender reveal parties. You may see how we ended up like this, but at the end, I will tell you. But you must see why we were so blind, why we didn't stop them before it was too late. So on October 8th, 2018, about 20 people came into an Applebee's around 7 p.m. with confetti poppers and an idea. The idea, of course, being a gender reveal party. They bought some appetizers, and then the manager asked them to use confetti outside so as to not disturb any guests. So they did, and then the manager asked them to clean up the mess they had just created. The members of the group refused and began to get more aggressive as time went on, first shouting at the manager and hostess, then throwing some menus at them. After that, the police were called to break up the fight, and when that happened, they all left, allegedly not paying for their meal. So, harassing a local Applebee's doesn't sound like that great of a party. So let's get on to the next one. Again, in 2018, there was another problem during a gender reveal party, when a dad kicked a football and stumbled and broke his ankle. He wasn't able to walk for 9 weeks after that, but he was okay and seems to find that incident kind of funny. Okay, fad time. In 2018, there was a fad of the gender reveal party called the gender reveal burnout. Essentially, what happened was that you would take a big bag of powder, then attach it on the ground or near your back wheel, and then run your tires and watch as the smoke turned either pink or blue. One notable example is when a family did this and used a drone to capture the event, which showed as the car accelerated and then proceeded to show the car catching on fire. Everyone was okay, but the police charged the driver with dangerous driving, a $1,000 ticket, and disqualified him from driving for 6 months. During 2019, a Texan family had a great idea, a gender reveal with a crop duster, which would fly really close to the ground and drop a color to represent the sex of the baby. They knew that for the next 5 hours, the media would be saying stuff like,
"Wow, look at how cool they are.
They're so interesting and sophisticated and creative."
What could possibly go wrong? So the plane flew over and then dropped 350 gallons of colored water. But then it started to stall. It crashed, but thankfully the pilot survived without any injury. But the passenger did receive minor injuries. Still, the destruction of that crop field could have been avoided if, they were to just call their friends and say, "Hey, my wife's fetus has a penis." But anyway, it was later found that the plane was carrying 2 people but was only designed for 1. Oh yeah, by the way, ignore my former statement. This was actually a girl. There was a similar example on March 30th, 2021, when during a gender reveal party just off the shore of Cancun, the #1 destination in the February edition of Abandoned Constituents Monthly, where a family used a plane to fly a sign reading "It's a girl" over a small boat, which then lost control and crashed, killing the 2 people inside. Again, in 2019, another couple wanted to do a gender reveal, so they decided that they were going to do a smoke bomb gender reveal. So here's what they did. Cue 5-minute Crafts background music. So first, they welded a metal pipe to a stand, then filled it with gunpowder, then added a color to show what the sex of the child would be. Then they covered it up with tape and added a fuse. Now, although their intention was only an explosion straight up, by covering the exit, they had accidentally created a bomb. So instead of exploding into the air and shooting the color upwards, it exploded out and tragically instantly killed a 56-year-old woman who was standing near it. It was later found that the person who made it was experimenting with explosives because they wanted to post it on social media. There was another similar incident that occurred on February 21st, 2021, when a man was trying to do the same thing and accidentally made a bomb, suffering the same fate as the mother in the previous story. Let's go back a few years to 2017. An off-duty Border Patrol officer in Texas wants to have a special gender reveal party, so he has an idea. The couple knows that explosives and firearms are dangerous, but he still wanted to do something extravagant, so he whipped out his Google calculator and started calculating. If we assume that a bad gender reveal is a -1, and combining 2 ideas is multiplication, we can see... Oh my god, it's a good idea! Okay, so none of that actually happened. But the point is, he was going to do a gender reveal party with a gun and explosives. Remember the Terranite explosion from earlier? Yeah, that's why that's important. So he set up a target labeled boy or girl that was designed to explode. And when he fired, it did. Congratulations, it's a boy. Unfortunately, Texas is one of the driest places in the United States. So when the explosion occurred, it started to burn things, and then things got out of control. At the end, it burned about 47,000 acres of land and caused more than $8 million in damages. The father who set up the plan was then forced to pay $8 million, but in monthly installments, and again, giving us another time where gender reveal parties caused more harm than good. Now jumping over to 2020. Well, it's 2020. What more do I have to say? A pandemic is raging out of control. World War III almost started. Sorry, LAKEY, not this time. But most importantly for this story, California is in a heat wave, which means it is incredibly dry. But there was a couple that wanted to make their gender reveal party special. Stay-at-home orders wouldn't stop them, and neither would the fires that were already burning, and a bit of pyrotechnics would make this a gender reveal party to remember. So their plan was to start a smoke-generating pyrotechnic device that would release a specific color. I don't need to keep explaining this to you, you get the idea. But they placed a device close to tall grass. One thing led to another, and they accidentally started a wildfire. It then burned out of control, destroying land and turning California into a Blade Runner knockoff. It burned around 20,000 acres.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
And although gender reveal parties were a problem long before this, people started associating how bad it could get, and the eerie images, with an idea that it started from one person. Just so you know, this isn't the case, it was multiple fires that all started in different ways. But people began to see how dangerous gender reveal parties could be. As with most things in the land of the internet, people began to make memes. Then, the creator of the gender reveal party came out and asked people to stop doing gender reveal parties, saying that she regrets creating it because of the damage it's caused, but also because she feels it doesn't really matter what the gender of the baby will be. So that's the story of the end of the world. Oh, yeah, this all happened because some celebrity was able to buy a nuclear bomb from a dealer who got it from the Soviet Union. Then they figured out how to change the color of the blast and then blew it up, starting World War III. It was a girl. But every time I close my eyes, I can still remember all of the problems with those parties before that final gender reveal. How could we be so blind to what would happen next? Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't really cover some things, but they didn't really fit into the topic of this video, so I'll give myself a pass. This took a long time to make, so if you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing. I also have a Twitter, by the way, if you want to follow that. If you want to watch another video of mine, then I'll put one here. You don't have to, though. I thank you for watching this one. It's a pretty different format from this one, so if this is the first video you've watched of mine, then that'll be fun, I guess. Anyway, that's about it. I hope you have a great week, and I hope this made your day just a little bit better.